But my dad died on my birthday in 1990. So that was 30 years ago last month. Died on my 44th birthday. And my mom died about 14 years ago, 2006. June of 2006, so it's coming up on 14 years ago my mom died. And both my mom and my dad visited me after their deaths quite clearly. My dad didn't speak to me, but my mother did. She spent 3 or 4 minutes with me. My dad I just saw passing. And before you think that's too crazy, don't forget, as recorded in Matthew, I believe it's chapter 26 in the New Testament, when Jesus was raised from the dead, when the veil of the temple was rent from top to bottom, 500 people appeared, dead people, walking in the streets of Jerusalem. People recognized them, saw family members, saw old friends walking around. Now, we don't know exactly what state they were in. That is, whether they looked themselves or what they looked like. We're not told that, but many people saw them. The Bible does tell us that. So the idea of living on after death is not new to the Bible. It's only scary. And so, like much of the Bible, unfortunately, it's undergone revision by frightened expositors, frightened people that they're the same people that want to say, if you speak in tongues or fall over, you're of the devil. That kind of person who doesn't really know anything, just got emotional opinions. I don't care if he's got a PhD or a THD behind his name, makes no difference. College degree is not wisdom. It's not maturity. It's not insight. It's not spirituality. We know that. Just take a look at the vast amount of pastors in this world that have no business being a pastor at all. But they happen to have a D-Min degree or something from, Oak Park, South Arkansas, Louisiana Baptist Bible College. And there they are telling us what we should believe. Anyways, so my dad and mom both visited me. Here comes a side-by-side. That's the only thing up here. You can't get away from it. We came a long way up here. Took us an hour to drive up here. And there's still guys, which is all right. I mean, it's a free forest. I get it. And we're on basically a side-by-side road. Side-by-side being an ATV. Here it comes. It's sort of like a miniature Jeep. There's hundreds of them up here. People like crazy are driving them. Here he comes. I'm going to get out of his way. Going on by. So they're wearing their masks. They're isolating on their side-by-side. Anyways, and I'm not wearing a mask, by the way. Here I am. Hi. Oh, there's my dog. Came to see me. My dog came to see if I'm okay. Whiskey, I'm okay. Going back to Granny. Go on. Go on. Attaboy. Going back to see Granny. He wants to make sure we're all okay. So I'm going to turn my hand around so you can see me better. So they both appeared to me. My dad appeared to me about a week after he died. And my mom appeared to me about 12 years after she died. She appeared to me last year. I can't remember exactly when. But they were both quite clear, quite impressive apparitions. And I appreciated them both. My dad's appearance was very brief. I was in a market. And I wasn't even thinking about him. About a week after he died. I was probably thinking about it. It was only a week after he died. But I was just tooling through the market. And I suddenly looked up and saw him. Now, it wasn't exactly precisely like him. It was him, but a little bit more transparent, a little bit grayer, not as in full color. And he just walked up the aisle toward me. The wind, I know, it's terrible. Sorry. He walked up the aisle toward me and didn't look at me, but walked right toward me and then turned the corner and walked right by me from left to right and disappeared around the next corner. I didn't see him at all after that. But it was clear. It was not my imagination. It was not something I hoped would happen. It was just an appearance. And knowing my dad, he didn't make eye contact or anything, but he wouldn't. My dad was very shy. I've talked about it before. Very kind, shy, self-effacing man. And he would just want me to see him. And I believe he wanted me to see him so that I would be encouraged that he was okay. And he was. He looked great. He looked healthy and young. And he was walking briskly, just like he was shopping. Of course he wasn't, I don't think. But there he was. My mom, on the other hand, my mother, wow, this was the big one for me, bigger yet. And this was 12 years later, only about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I was in my car driving and not thinking about her at all. I mean, she had died 12 years earlier. I was just in my car, in my Prius. And all of a sudden, she appeared sitting beside me. And I felt her presence. I didn't look directly. I didn't take my eyes off the road. But I could see her out of the corner of my eye, which is, I learned later, is somewhat common for those that are visited by relatives or friends who have died. And she touched my arm. I could feel the touch on my right forearm as it was resting on the console between the seats. And she touched it and she spoke. I mean, it was amazing. And she just spoke and touched it and said, "I love you, I'm great, and please don't think anything ill of yourself. You did a wonderful job taking care of me when I was so sick. And thank you, and I love you. And again, I'm doing great. Don't worry about me. And I'll see you again." And again, it was a minute or two. First the sitting there, then the touch on my arm. And then she was gone. And as I also learned later, that's very often what those that visit from the other side do. They come to encourage, to comfort, to bring closure to this life. And I fully expect to see her again when I pass over, and probably my dad as well. Although my dad is very shy, he may or may not want to see me. I'm not that he wouldn't want to see me, but he's very shy. He did let me see him. That was a great gift from him to me. Now, maybe you think I'm crazy, but I'm not. And like I said, you know, Lazarus, take Lazarus, John chapter 11, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. He's going to go raise him up. It says he's asleep. And somebody, Mary or somebody says, "Don't do it. He already stinks. He's been in the ground for 4 days or so." And he comes out. He's just up and out. So we have clear New Testament examples, more than one, of the dead being still alive. You don't hear too many sermons about it because fundamentalist conservative pastors don't know what the heck to do with it. Well, once you've had a visitation, you have no problem with it at all. And I want to encourage you. If this encourages you, then I feel that I've done my thing for today. That death is not the end of everything. It is the end of this life with this body as it is. There's no question about that. But there's nothing new without beginning. You know, Paul said, I die daily. And the Eastern mystics throughout the centuries up to today understand that very well. They understand that birth and death are basically death and life are basically the same. Birth and death are basically the same. Death and life. That life doesn't happen until there is a death. And so Paul, when he said, I die daily, you know, the superficial church rendition, unfortunately, is that, you know, I put away my lusts and I don't look at women and I don't desire to buy things. And, you know, you could take it all that way. There's nothing that wrong with that. But on the other hand, I believe he meant something quite a bit deeper. He meant that he died every day on purpose to this life. And many mystics, mostly of the East, because we in the West are in bondage to intellectualism. We're materialists. That is to say, not only because we buy things, but because we don't believe anything unless it can be measured. So we are very much materialists. And we don't know very much about spiritual dynamic on this side, on the West, in the West. The East knows all about it, or a lot more about it. And Eastern mystics will remind us and encourage us and plead with us, basically, to prepare in this life to die. Prepare for the next. If you don't, if you do, it'll be a lot easier. Your death won't be fearful. And I believe that's what Paul really meant, was I'm learning to die every day. Remember, he's the same guy that said, I don't care whether I'm dead or alive. See, he practiced dying every day by putting away anything and everything that this world offered. He just put it away. He wouldn't take money, usually at all. Talked about that before. Worked when he was in towns. He didn't build buildings. He didn't try to make a name for himself. You know, all the things we do as a church to sort of try to maintain the permanence of this. And we can't. It's not permanent. I mean, there's nothing in this life that's permanent. Now, if you die daily to the attempt at permanence, and you begin negating things that are the escape mechanisms, like if I just buy another new car, or take another trip, or have one more good bout of sex or something, that'll make my life permanent. It won't. It'll make it worse. It'll be another nail in the coffin of an easy death. No pun intended. But if we die daily, and if we are open, and I want to offer that you can be open. Big wind, sorry. I want to offer you the opportunity to become quite open to the fact that this life, the end of this life, isn't the end of you or of me. And you may have visitors from beyond the grave as well. I hope you do. Because that happening to me encouraged me immensely, changed my whole outlook. It gave me a peace. And I say openly, and this is not morbid at all, that Susan and I, both of us 74 years old, healthy, functional, we're out here hiking, and yet we spend every single day exploring and experiencing every kind of preparation we know for death. Because when it comes, it doesn't scare us. We just want to be ready and die right and slide right in. Drop this body, slide right in to the afterlife. That's what's going to happen. Hey, have a great day. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for watching my videos. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And I will see you at the next video, hopefully at another beautiful spot like this up on top of the Mogollon Rim. It's beautiful. All the best to you, and God bless.